Hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into becoming an urban planner. We're going to help prep you for that big interview and hopefully a dream job shaping the cities of tomorrow. With us, we have some amazing resources from RoleCatcher. They're a website all about helping people figure out their careers, think career guides, interview prep tools, all that good stuff.
It's really like having a roadmap and a toolkit.
Exactly. So, before we jump into interview questions, let's get a sense of what an urban planner actually does. It's more than just designing pretty buildings, right?
You got it. Urban planners really dive deep into the soul of a city, researching what the community needs, from transportation and housing to green spaces, how people interact, and of course, keeping an eye on sustainability. Basically creating the blueprints for towns, cities, even whole regions.
Wow. So, you're really impacting people's lives, shaping how they experience the world around them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads to one of the biggest upsides in this job, the satisfaction of knowing you're helping build a better future. It's a huge motivator.
That makes a lot of sense. But RoleCatcher does mention some downsides, right? Like maybe long hours, tough choices.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to be working on some pretty complex projects, tons of people involved, so be ready to put in the time and work through some difficult situations. But I think for people who are really passionate about creating thriving places for people, those challenges are totally worth it.
Okay, passion is key.
Yeah.
So what about the skills you need to really show off in an interview? RoleCatcher really highlights design, engineering, technology, but also being able to communicate and problem solve. It's a pretty broad set of skills.
Yeah, it is. And one that's becoming more and more important is something called GIS, Geographic Information Systems. It's like a high-tech toolbox, helps you analyze location data, model different development scenarios, and create really compelling visuals. It's a must-have for any urban planner these days.
GIS, got it. So let's say you have the skills, you're passionate. How do you actually get started in this field?
Well, RoleCatcher is all about internships. It's your chance to get real experience, connect with people, and show potential employers what you can actually do. Even volunteering for local projects can show how dedicated you are and give you really valuable insights.
Okay, so start early. Build experience. Make those connections. And speaking of connections, RoleCatcher really pushes joining professional groups like the American Planning Association. Networking is so important, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a chance to learn from experienced people, stay up to date on what's happening in the field, and build relationships that could lead to jobs. And don't forget about certifications. The AICP, American Institute of Certified Planners. That's a big deal in the field. It shows you really know your stuff and are committed to the profession.
Okay, so we've got the basics down. Now let's get into the real reason we're here, acing that interview. RoleCatcher has this great interview guide, and we're going to tackle some of the toughest questions. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, first up, what inspired you to pursue a career as an urban planner? RoleCatcher says the interviewer really wants to hear your story, your unique passion.
Yeah, exactly. It's not enough to just say, I like cities. Think about what really sparked your interest. Maybe it was a childhood memory of some amazing public space, or a volunteer project that opened your eyes to what communities really need, or even, traveling and seeing innovative urban design. Whatever it is, connect that passion to something real, something tangible.
So authenticity is key. Don't just give some generic answer. Dig deep, share what really lit that fire to shape cities.
Right, and be ready for follow-up questions. They might ask you to talk more about that experience or how that passion translates into your approach to planning. So think about the specific skills and values that drive you and how those connect to the actual job.
Great advice. Okay, next question. Can you describe a project you worked on that involved community engagement? Outstanding. This is all about showing you can collaborate and listen to the needs of the people you're designing for.
Absolutely. Pick a project where community involvement was super important and explain your approach step by step. Did you organize workshops, conduct surveys, highlight how you got input, and really important, how you actually use that feedback?
So it's not just about talking to the community, but really listening and showing you value their thoughts.
Exactly. And be prepared to talk about any challenges you faced. Maybe there were different opinions within the community, or you had to balance what the community wanted with, budget limits or other practical stuff. Show them you can navigate those tricky situations and come up with creative solutions.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Moving on. How do you stay current with best practices and emerging trends in urban planning? I feel like they want to see that you're constantly learning, growing, and adapting in this field.
Definitely. This field is always changing. New technology, design approaches, sustainability practices popping up all the time, so show them you're proactive about staying ahead of the curve. Mention specific conferences or workshops you've attended, journals you read, even online forums or thought leaders you follow.
So it's all about showing you're committed to growing as a professional and that you're genuinely curious about the future of urban planning. Any pitfalls to avoid here?
Yeah, don't be vague. Don't just say, like, I read stuff online. Be specific. Name the publications, organizations, even the people you follow, and be honest. If you haven't been to a conference lately, mention a webinar or online course. The important thing is to show you're actively seeking out new knowledge.
Great point. Okay, this next one might feel a bit tricky. How do you prioritize competing demands and interests in a planning project? Sounds like they're trying to gauge your ability to balance different perspectives and make tough decisions.
Exactly. You'll be dealing with a lot of different stakeholders, residents, businesses, government agencies, all with their own needs and wants. They want to see if you can navigate those complexities and make informed decisions.
So choose a project where you had to juggle different priorities and walk them through your process. What were the demands? How did you weigh the pros and cons? And how did you ultimately make your choices?
Yeah, and don't shy away from talking about challenges. Maybe you had to have difficult conversations or find compromises. Those are valuable experiences. They show you can handle conflict and find solutions that benefit everyone.
Okay, let's talk about a question that's becoming more and more important. How do you incorporate sustainability and environmental considerations into your planning projects? This is all about showing you're committed to a greener future, right?
Absolutely. Sustainability isn't just a bonus anymore. It's a core part of responsible urban planning. So showcase your understanding of sustainable design. Think about specific strategies you've used. Renewable energy, walkable neighborhoods, green spaces, reducing waste. There are tons of possibilities.
It's about showing you're not just building for today, but for tomorrow. I imagine it's also important to actually measure your impact. If you reduce energy use,
Yeah.
increase green space, those concrete results really make a difference.
Oh yeah, for sure. And be ready to discuss any challenges you faced in making those sustainable solutions happen. Maybe you had to advocate for those practices within your team. Or work around budget limitations. Show them you're passionate about sustainability and you're willing to push for it.
Okay, moving on. How do you work with other professionals, like architects and engineers, to develop planning projects?
Really?
Seems pretty straightforward, but it's really about highlighting your teamwork skills.
It is. Urban planning is all about collaboration. You'll be working hand in hand with architects, engineers, landscape architects, community leaders, and so many others. They want to see you can communicate clearly, respect different viewpoints, and work towards a shared vision.
So pick a project where collaboration was key. And describe your role. Did you facilitate meetings, develop presentations, mediate between different ideas, give concrete examples of how you've worked effectively as part of a team?
Yeah. And don't be afraid to talk about challenges. Maybe there were times you had to compromise or deal with different working styles. Those are valuable learning experiences. They show you can adapt and are committed to finding solutions as a group.
Okay, we're on our seventh question, and it's a bit of a curveball.
Oh.
Can you describe a time you had to make a really tough decision in a planning project? This feels like a test of your judgment and leadership skills.
It is. Every urban planner faces tough choices. This question is about how you approach those situations, how you weigh the different factors, and how you ultimately make a call, even when there's no easy answer.
So pick an example where you had to deal with competing priorities, maybe even ethical considerations. What were the factors you considered? How did you involve stakeholders in the decision? And what were the results?
And remember, it's okay to talk about mistakes you've made. What's important is that you learned from them and can show you can reflect on your decisions and grow as a professional.
Great point. Now, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, let's touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can help you personalize your answers.
Oh, this is where things get really interesting. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze job descriptions and figure out the most important skills for each role. Then it helps you tailor your answers to highlight those specific skills and experiences. It's like having a personal career coach right in your pocket.
So it's not about giving you generic answers. It's about crafting responses that are perfect for the specific job you're after. That's incredible.
It is. And in part 2 of this deep dive, we'll explore those AI tools in even more detail. We'll show you how they can help you practice your delivery, get feedback, and boost your confidence going into that all-important interview.
So be sure to tune in for part 2, where we unlock even more secrets to nailing that interview and launching your urban planning career.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Ready for more of those tough interview questions?
Absolutely. Last time we went over some common questions, got some great insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide, showcasing your passion, your teamwork skills, how you handle tough decisions, and of course, that commitment to a sustainable future. Plus, we got a sneak peek at those incredible AI tools they offer. Yeah, and those tools can really change the game, help you refine your answers, practice how you deliver them, and get feedback tailored to you. It's almost like having a career coach by your side.
Exactly. So let's dive back into the interview questions. Starting with one that's super relevant these days. How do you ensure your planning projects are inclusive of everyone in the community? It's all about showing you're committed to equity and accessibility, right?
Totally. Urban planning should benefit everybody, not just a select few. So think about projects where you really engage diverse communities. Did you offer translation services, host meetings in places that are easy to access for people with disabilities, partner with organizations that represent different cultural groups, share those concrete examples?
So it's about going above and beyond and really making sure inclusivity is baked into your whole planning process. What kind of follow-up questions could they ask about this?
They might ask you to explain how you figured out the needs of specific groups, or how you dealt with any challenges in making sure everyone had equal access and could participate. So be prepared to discuss those finer points and show that you understand how complex inclusive planning can be.
Okay, on to question 9. Can you describe a time when you had to work within a tight budget for a planning project?
Ah.
We've all been there.
Oh, for sure, a universal experience. But the question isn't about complaining about limited resources. It's about showing how resourceful you are and your ability to make smart choices.
So how should you tackle this question?
Choose a project where budget was a big issue and walk them through what you did. Did you prioritize what was absolutely necessary? Look for cost-effective options, maybe even negotiate with vendors to get the best deals. The point is to show you can be creative and still deliver a great project even when money is tight.
So you're not just a big picture thinker. You can also handle the nuts and bolts, the practical side of things. What if they ask about a time you had to make a tough compromise because of budget constraints?
That's a great chance to highlight your problem-solving skills. Describe the situation, how you weighed your options, and the reasoning behind your final decision. Emphasize any creative solutions you came up with to minimize the negative impact, or get the most value out of the budget you had.
Awesome advice. All right, let's take on the final question for this episode. How do you make sure your planning projects align with the goals and vision of the local government? This seems crucial, making sure your work fits into the bigger picture.
Absolutely. It's all about showing you understand the political and regulatory landscape. Urban planning isn't done in a bubble. You need to be aware of local policies, zoning rules, what the community prioritizes.
So it's not just about being creative, it's about being strategic and working within existing frameworks. What does RoleCatcher suggest for this one?
Choose a project where aligning with the government's goals was a key factor. Maybe you had to navigate some complicated permitting processes, or work closely with government officials to make sure everything was compliant. The key is to demonstrate that you can handle those systems effectively and deliver projects that match the community's overall vision.
It's about being a team player, not just pushing your own ideas. What are some follow-up questions they might throw your way?
They might ask about your experience working with government agencies, your understanding of specific local policies, or how well you adapt your plans when regulations change. Be ready to talk about those details and showcase your knowledge of the local context.
So it's not enough to just know the theory. You need to show you can handle the real-world stuff.
Exactly. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI tools can be incredibly helpful. They can analyze job descriptions to figure out the specific skills and experiences that employers are looking for. Then they can help you adjust your answers to highlight those strengths and address those specific requirements.
Wow, it's like having a personalized cheat sheet for each interview.
It really is. And in the next part of the deep dive, we'll explore how RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice how you deliver your answers, get feedback on your body language, your tone of voice, and really boost your confidence going into that all-important interview.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding what urban planners do to tackling those tough interview questions.
Yeah, we've explored how to showcase your passion for creating sustainable communities, your ability to make tough decisions, and your knack for working within those government frameworks.
But now, it's time for the secret weapon. RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools. These can really take your interview prep to the next level.
Oh yeah, they're like having a personal career coach, a resume expert, and a mock interviewer all rolled into one.
Okay, let's break it down. What's the first AI tool we should check out?
Let's start with the CV and cover letter builder. You feed the AI your experience, your skills. It analyzes tons of job descriptions to help you highlight what's most relevant, like having a pro resume writer at your fingertips, making sure your application really stands out.
That's amazing. So it's not just about formatting, it's about making sure your application really pops. What else can these AI tools do?
Remember all those interview questions we talked about? Well, RoleCatcher's AI doesn't just give you sample answers, it helps you personalize them. You put in your experience. And it suggests how to frame your responses, emphasizing the skills that really matter to that employer. It even points out potential pitfalls and gives tips on how to deliver your answers.
Wow, it's like having a custom prep session for each job.
Right.
But what I think is really incredible is the AI-powered practice feature. Tell me more about that.
Okay, imagine this. You record yourself answering an interview question, just like you would in a real interview. Then, RoleCatcher's AI analyzes your video. It gives you feedback on everything, from what you say to your body language and even your tone of voice. It's like having an expert break down every little thing you do, helping you refine your presentation and feel more confident.
Hold on. It analyzes your body language, too. That's next level. I can see how that would be super helpful, especially for people who get nervous during interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. It picks up on things you might not even realize you're doing, like fidgeting or not making eye contact. It also helps you catch any, verbal tics or habits that could be distracting.
This is why I love RoleCatcher. It's not just about getting you through the interview. It's about helping you become a better communicator overall, skills that will benefit you throughout your entire career.
Exactly. And all these AI tools are designed to work together seamlessly. You can start with the CV builder, then move on to tailoring your answers, and finally practice delivering them with the AI coach. All in one platform. It's like a whole interview prep ecosystem.
It's like having a personalized toolkit to conquer the job search.
So with all these resources and AI guidance, do you think anyone can become an urban planner?
Well, here's the thing. Tools are great, but they work best when you combine them with passion, dedication, and a genuine desire to make a difference. RoleCatcher can give you the knowledge and skills, but it's up to you to bring the vision, the creativity, and the drive to shape the cities of tomorrow. That's a great point. So for all our listeners who dream of creating vibrant, sustainable, and inclusive urban spaces, what's the one key takeaway you want them to remember?
With the right preparation, the right tools, and the right mindset, you can make that dream a reality. Go out there, embrace the challenge, and use the amazing resources you have, like RoleCatcher, to make your mark on the world, one city block at a time.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of urban planning. We hope you found it insightful, empowering, and maybe even a little inspiring. Remember, the future of our cities is in your hands. Now go out there and build something amazing.